So not every graphics card is gonna come with a backplate on it, leaving just the PCB exposed on top when you plug it in. And when it's sitting in your case like that, it doesn't really look that good. I have the P&Y Accelerate GTX 1060, which for the aftermarket cards, it is a little bit cheaper, so you miss out on some features. Like, it is just completely blank on the side, and there's nothing to it. The actual like logo's on the bottom, and you're never gonna see that unless you like vertically mount your graphics card. But that is not what I do in my case. So today, I'm gonna be taking the shroud off, painting it white, and then I am going to also be making an acrylic backplate that has LEDs with my logo on it, and it'll look super sick in my case. So let's get started. So what do you actually need to make your own acrylic custom LED GPU backplate? Well, I'm gonna use some paint that bonds to plastic to paint the shroud white, and I'll be using some black paint for the acrylic piece. We need the acrylic itself, which you can get on Amazon. I'll link it down below, or any home goods store like Lowe's or something like that, Menards, Home Depot. And then some double-sided tape. You need vinyl. I actually have access to a Critic, which is a vinyl cutting machine, so you can see here my logo is cut out, but you can do it by hand and just buy the vinyl sheet, and I think you can get it at Walmart even, or Amazon. I'll link that in the description as well. And then you can hand cut it out with a fine razor blade if that's your only option, and it's definitely doable. Then we need some LED strips, so not too much. So the first thing we want to do is get some paper and make a template. So all I did was take a piece of paper, flip it upside down, trace the outside of it, cut it out. Now, I've used this so it's a little bit cut up, but you just test fit it, and it's about the size of the backplate that we want. So this is what we're going to use on the acrylic to mark it out, and then we will score it. So my advice would be to get a big piece of acrylic sheet. That way, if you screw up, you have a lot more to work with. I think for this sheet here, I paid maybe like 15 bucks for, but I still have a factory cut edge here on both sides. So I'm gonna line this up like this. That way those are both perfectly straight, I already know. And then I'm going to mark a line here, mark a line there, mark a line there, and mark a line right there. Then you want to take your straight edge. I just have this absolutely massive, like 6-foot straight edge, but it will work. And then you want to line that up and draw a line. My straight edge won't work because it's too long, so I'm gonna make do with what I have here. I actually have the GPU itself. So that's what it looks like when it's done. Now we can score. So what I'm actually using to score the acrylic is an acrylic scoring tool. I got it for $4 at Menards, pretty cheap. And what you do is you score it multiple times, whatever lines you have, and then you put it over the edge and you actually break it. And it should break along that score in a nice clean edge. And then afterwards we'll clean it up with some sandpaper. So let's try it. Now for the moment of truth. Can I break it without causing this? Here's my other attempt where I barely scored it and I did it by hand. It's not very straight, but it broke off pretty good here, pretty good all the way to here, and the corner actually stuck. It's not what you want. So let's hope it works. So here we have a more defined edge on the table. That one's kind of routed because it's an old piece of countertop. So well, as you can see, it worked, but it left a little bit on that corner, and then it broke off the other part actually where I left it before. So let's break it where we need to on this side. Looks like it scored how we wanted it. So just gotta clean up that edge there. That shouldn't be too hard. Okay. Not the best thing I've ever seen, but when we place it on top, it fits pretty nice. So we're gonna take a piece of sandpaper, we're gonna sand up all the edges, make it look real nice. We'll go to the next step. So to sand it up, you can use just a little piece of hand sandpaper, but I'm a power tools kind of guy, so I'm gonna be using the orbital sander. But make sure when you're sanding the acrylic to put on some type of mask. It will leave little particles, and you don't want to breathe that in. All right, it looks all right. And if it's not perfect along the edge, it doesn't matter. This is our factory cut here. So we can put that to the front, like that. And then when you plug it in, the bad side will be to the back and you won't even notice it, so it'll be fine. So now it's time to do a little painting. I'm gonna paint this whole shroud white, and I think it'll look much better, especially since my case is white. And to do that, all we gotta do is take off a few screws on the bottom, and then it should lift right off, disconnect the fans. Nice and easy. Put your screws in something like that way you don't lose them. And then once you do that, it should just lift right off. There's our fan connector. Disconnect that. We're ready for paint. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and undo all the screws for the fan assemblies as well, because I don't want to paint those. So just 3 screws, and then the little controller on the back where the wires plug into. Unscrew that, it should all pop out nice and easy. Voila. So what I'm going to do is now place the vinyl sticker onto the acrylic how I want it. So I want it like this. Try to center it, I guess, as good as you can. And now we're ready for paint. So we're gonna be painting the shroud white. We're gonna be painting the Tech FTP acrylic white. And then when we peel it off, this will be clear where the vinyl is, obviously, because the paint won't go there. And then you all right, buddy? I got my little helper out here today. And then the paint will not go over where the vinyl is. You peel the vinyl off and then it's clear and your LEDs come through there. So let's paint it. Now we're gonna let that dry. I'm not sure how long it's gonna take, probably quite a while, but once that dries up, I'll catch you guys then. So now this side's pretty dry. I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna paint this side as well. But what I have to do is I have to take painter's tape or something like that, if I had an extra sheet of vinyl, and cover up the side where you see the vinyl, so that way when we paint the back, it'll still be clear. All right, so bear with me here a sec. It's been a while. So originally, this is the vinyl side up. I painted this white, I let that dry, I flipped it over, and then I had to put painter's tape where the vinyl is, so when I paint the back, it doesn't show up white, and then when we peel off the vinyl, you know, it's all white and it's not clear. So when I pull this painter's tape off, it should be clear where my vinyl is. Otherwise, I made an oopsie. So the logo looks like it should be all, looks good. So now I am going to put the camera down, use my blade, and slowly pick off the vinyl sticker, where we should be able to tell if it really works. so it turned out pretty good. Like I said, my craftsmanship isn't perfect, you see that, but that's gonna be towards the back of the GPU, so I really don't care. That's kind of how we do it around here. We just go for it and hope for the best. I think it turned out pretty cool. So, next thing we have to do is make another piece of acrylic just like this, except maybe about this high. We need a gap up here where the LED strip will go, and then we'll hot glue it at an angle so the light shines through it. I'll show you what I mean, but essentially all it is, this piece right here, putting it on the acrylic and taking off a little bit from the height of it and then attaching it to the back. So let's cut that piece. So let's try it this time. I know you need to do a nice quick action on it, which I didn't do before. So I'm hoping for the best. That is perfect. So we'll do this one, and then we should be good. We don't need to paint this piece. Should be just fine. So here's the back. My camera's rotated, so this is really showing you the right way, but it's flipped. And this is really backwards, but it looks right to you. So this is the back. We're gonna want to mount this piece along the back like that. Oh, it overhangs. Look at that. Oh no, I made it too wide. All right, so what I've done is scored it a bunch, and now I'm going to take a handy dandy vice grips and hope for the best. People who are good at working with acrylic are probably laughing their ass off at me, but you know what? We achieved what we wanted. Now, it does not overhang. So, our edges look good. And now, we're gonna connect this. Now, I've seen other people use double-sided tape to connect it, but they've used clear double-sided tape. I have Gorilla Tape. This double-sided tape is no joke, and I don't know if it's gonna be too thick. I think I'm gonna try it anyway, because what I could do, I have my wife's handy-dandy hot glue gun here. It's pink and it's, does hot glue. I could hot glue it like this. And I don't know. All right, I've made a decision. If I use the tape, the LED is not gonna be able to shine through it, obviously. Because they're using clear tape, it would work. So I'm gonna put a little dab of hot glue around it and it should work just fine. So we'll wait until the hot glue gun gets hot. Shady Grove, my little love, shady, my little shady grove, eyes with the prettiest brown, pretty little girl in town. All right, check it out. All I did is put it in 4 corners. I think that will be enough. We need to get the hot glue gun going anyway because we're gonna need it to glue our LED strips on. LED strips. These little markers right here, these little copper bands are where you can cut it. And then you can resolder them with wire. It's super easy to do, but I'm just gonna cut it to the length that I need. So my length is long enough here. What I wanna do is place it on there and kind of rest it up on that second piece. So instead of sitting flat, it's gonna sit on that second piece at like a 45-degree angle. You'll see what I mean. All right, here's the LED strip. I tested it out, but what I had to, this thing is getting dirty already. So what I had to do, a dark layer of electrical tape, because when I mounted the LED in here and I flipped it over, you could actually visibly see the LEDs individual through the white paint, and it didn't look very good. So I tried it like this, and I just held it up to it, flipped it around, and it worked. So now I'm gonna go ahead and glue it on there one more time, and then show you guys the final product on the painted graphics card, and then in the case. I'm gonna tell you, it looks awesome. Shall we test it with the light on? Super sick. Here's what the graphics card turned out like. Matches my system awesomely. So we're gonna put that on top of there. That, extra hot glue. That will mount just like that. And then this will sit inside there and it's gonna look so sick, man. Let's go. Like, gotta turn the lights off again. Look at that, man. That is sick. Turned out so good. So to mount this, we are gonna actually use our double-sided tape here. First one, place it on there like that. Flip it over. Line it up how we want. Press it on there. Make sure it's on there nice and tight. Don't push too hard, you don't want to break the freaking graphics card. There we go. It is mounted. Let's go put it in the computer. So much cooler than before. It's not perfect, like I said, but it turned out so sick. So I have new fans coming, and they're all gonna be addressable. But right now, I'm kind of going with the red theme. So if we do red, it looks super sick, but we can do the strobe, whatever you want. And tell me that's not 15 times better than a graphics card that does not have a backplate. Pretty simple. I just made it look hard. Look at that. Oh my gosh, there's the red. Just want a nice little white. You can turn it down, you can turn it up. You can do a little smooth transition to give you all the color feels. I feel like when I get my fans, I'm gonna set them to blue and turn the motherboard lights off because that's a clean look. Check that out. My CPU cooler is so big that if it wasn't there, it would look better, but Tech FTP Custom LED Acrylic GPU backplate. Very simple, very worth it, and a large upgrade to my system, if I had to say so myself. Well, there we have it. That's it for this video. I think it turned out really good. Painting the GPU white was the smart move, and then I'm gonna get some more vinyl stickers and probably put something on the side, maybe like GTX 1060 or Tech FTP, just so it's not just a plain plastic side. You know, it was black before, but the white matches it way better. Once I get the RGB fans that are coming in tomorrow, I got 5 new fans coming. That's gonna match up, and then, you know, the backplate turned out sick. So we had a little troubles during the video, but you know what? It's not that fun unless you experiment and have some difficulties. So if you guys enjoyed it, leave a thumbs up. See you in the next video.